Hello, hello. It is time for another creative chat. And today I have Ruth with me. She's a writer, a business coach, anything creative. And yeah, we're going to have a lovely chat, I think. Hi, Ruth. Welcome.
Hey, Natalie.
I am so happy that you are here.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to a good creative chat.
Yeah, me too. So, could you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Do you know what? I hate this question because I just want to answer it with like a million things. I feel like I just want to say serial experimenter, serial follow my hearter. So depending on when this was live, I might do something else. But yeah, um, just anything creative. Like I in my business life slash world, I've done photography, I've done design, I've done coaching, I've done if you name it, I've probably done it. But yeah, serial like I said, experimenter slash follow my heart. If my heart says like go this way, like I will try it out. I will do the thing. I'll enjoy the thing until I no longer do. But right now it's very much writing and creating lovely journals for people.
Yeah, your journals are lovely. And I also know that you design like t-shirts and hoodies, and so I can definitely see all the different elements of creativeness and going
Mm.
wherever your heart takes you. Um, and I think you also made puzzles the other day.
Oh, we did puzzles, yeah. So yeah, I've done like you said, I've done some t-shirts where like hang on. So my background is in design. Like I love designing things completely. Um, And I don't know, I never just want to be pigeonholed into a thing. Like I've done so many like design projects for clients where it's like, oh, let's do their branding, let's do their website. And that's like good and fun and fine. But you know, you're working within this like brief, like this is your parameter kind of thing, which is again fine. It does what it needs to do. But I'm like, I just want to play sometimes. So yeah, I just love lettering. Like I'm just putting like cool words and letterings on things. That's my style. So a few years ago, I did some different t-shirts. I had more hand printed beautifully. It's evolved over the years. So sometimes now I'll do a pop-up, but it's more like print on demand just because it's easier, it's a bit more cost effective. Somebody else does the fulfillment. And when I was doing them a few months ago, when I relaunched them, I'm like, oh, this company, my print on demand company now does like eco-friendly puzzles. So we're like, we'll try out doing some puzzles as well. And they've actually gone down really, really well. So yeah, I've done those as well.
I think that's so cool, and I think I love when I see you online and you just like do whatever, like you were saying in your intro, just like whatever suits you at that moment, whatever interests you at that moment, that's where you go
Mm-hmm.
for. And I think that is so cool. And I think that's also something that is very important to you. Like that's something that very much that you teach to just do what feels right.
Yeah, like I, and I think like a lot of online people will relate to this. Like on the Myers-Briggs, I'm an INFJ, so like the feeler. Like I will overthink things sometimes, but like I'm definitely a feeler, and if it's got to feel right. Like if it feels off, if it feels just not so fun, I struggle creating it. I struggle to set my bum down to do the thing. I struggle to share the thing. I struggle to sell the thing. So it's got to feel good. And if you know, we just change and evolve over time, and different things feel fun at different times. So if in this season creating t-shirts feel fun, that's what I'll do. If it stops feeling fun, I'll move on to journals or I'll move on to puzzles. So there's always like this kind of creative playfulness that runs through it. But yeah, it's gotta feel good. I literally can't do it else.
And so, how do you decide when it feels good for you?
I don't know. It's just like it's not a head decision. It's not, oh, on the 1st of April, that's when I'll sit down and do like X project. Oh, the month after I'll do Y project. Like that's not how that's not how my brain works at all. Like I've got a whole list of things. I'm like, oh, these whatever 10 ideas feel really fun, and I'm like, which one feels the funnest? That's literally my criteria, and I'll feel it in my tongue. Like, oh, right now it's like the t-shirts, and I'll go and do that. And once I've done them and created them and put them out into the world, then I'll look at my list again and like, oh, what feels like the most fun thing now? Oh, it's doing my journals. So literally I'll work on a project at a time that feels the most fun, and that's why it feels so easy to launch the thing because it's not like, oh, now it's like May, now I need to work on X project, but so and so feels fun. At like, no, I'm just going to work on the fun one. So yeah, for me, it's like the feeling in my tongue of just what feels fun.
I love that. I am an INFJ, by the way, as well. So
Mm.
I totally get that feeling. And I do lists too of just things that are in my head, things I want to improve or things I want to make. But what I've noticed a lot of times is that it's part of the thing that's fun and not the whole thing.
Oh,
And
100%.
and then sometimes I kind of want to move on to the next thing that feels good instead of finishing
Hmm.
that first thing. So how do you deal with that?
Two things. Hang on, is it two? No, three things. One, I'm just super mindful of that. Like, the whole project, maybe, I don't know, 80% of it will feel fun. And it's usually like, I don't know, writing a bit of copy or setting up the tech or like, do you know what I mean? These are it's the boring bits that you need to do to sell the thing that are like the least fun. So I either just mindfully know that. And I remember listening to a podcast by Seth Godin forever ago, and I can't remember what it's called now, but he did like a series. It was like 12 podcast episodes, and he was just basically like the last 10%. And he's just like, the last 10% is gonna suck. It's gonna be boring, but it's just basically like sit down and do things that you get to have your fun for like the 90%. But it's always that last 10%. And I just know like get it done because like once I get over that last little 10%, I get to go and have fun again. I get to share it and I get to see people whatever wearing my t-shirt or writing in my journal. So I get to see the fun bit. So it's just like a little bit in the middle. So just being mindful, um, outsourcing it if I can. And if it's a tech thing, that's like quite an easy thing to outsource to like, my VA or whatever. Or having templates for things. So like rather than me having to sit down and like really do the thing, if I can have a simple process or templaticize it, that's a word, I will. And what was it? Oh, you know what I was gonna say? Two other things. Oh, I'll also kind of like I love tricking my brain and I will gamify things. So I know everyone will probably have like different systems of like how they um project manage things. It could be like in Notion or it could be in Trello or it could be in Asana. Everyone's gonna have different. I'm a Trello girl. And I will set up a Trello board and that'll be my project. And I'll literally list every single thing. Like, say if it's creating a journal, it'll be like, oh, come up with the journal prompts, come up with the title, create the interior pages, design the cover, create the sales page, upload it to So literally all the different steps will be a new card in Trello and I'll color code them. So once I've done it, it turns green. If I'm working on it, it's like an amber orange. So literally all I want to do is just like I've just gamified. I'm just looking at this board of like emptiness. There's no color, and I can't. How many of these things can I flip? It doesn't matter which order I work on the things. If it's like 20 steps, it doesn't matter what. I just literally need to turn every tile over until it's green. So it's like it might not work for other people, but just like visually be like, oh, that one's green now. Like it just gives you a little like tick, like gives me that feeling. So that's how I do it for me. I'll just trick my brain, like how many of these can I turn green?
I like that. I think, and it's true. Like, I'm not very much a gamify person. My partner's far more
Yeah.
into all things challenging and gamification. But at the same time, I
It's
use
satisfying. Yeah.
exactly. I use Amazing Marvin, and if you take something off, it starts dancing or doing the moonwalk or rides on a unicorn or anything like that. And it just like makes it more fun um, and I think that's like maybe more important than the gamification of the
Yeah.
challenge. It's the fun part that it's ingrained in there as
Yeah.
well.
Like when I feel like, oh, I'm doing the boring bit now, but then I open again my Trello board and I'm like, oh, but half of my things I could just like literally like take a step forward every day and every day a new like thing turns green or depending on the size of the task, maybe a few do in one day. So it's just like, oh, see, so when I'm like, oh, it feels so far away until I get to launch the thing, and then I'm like, oh, there was 20 cards and like I've only got 5 left to turn green, and then it just helps me visually, like being a visual person, it helps me visually see how far I've come, and I'm like, oh, I've only got this little bit left to go. Like I can do that.
I like that you can see what you've done, because that's something I don't see. I can't see
Yeah.
from a project if they're ticked off. Well, I can set it to also show what you've already done, but it's less visual than what you're doing. I like that. That
Yeah.
it's the very visual project that way. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, like I said, visual person, be able to visually see how much I've done is like a huge motivating thing.
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of Trello, you also have something else that's visual on Trello that I'm really obsessed with, and that's your photo log.
Yeah. So I I don't know why. I just like memories and adventures. Like that's such a big thing for me. Like I just, love seeing how well this kind of fits in with like turning the cards green. I just love seeing how far I've come and like what I've done, achieved, enjoyed over the years. So likewise, and like say there's like different apps, there's like Time Hop, which will show you like different memories on like Instagram and Facebook, or you can go in Facebook and see your memories from like a year ago today or 5 years ago today. And I like all that, but there's different times when I'm not on certain apps and I just want to like streamline it because my life lives on Trello. I'm like, we can create a photo diary on Trello. And that's exactly what I've done. I now have like boards where I'll have like January, February, March, and I'll just literally stick across the top like first, second, third, fourth. And underneath, I'll just add my photo of the day. So, not every single day, but if I've just like, oh, I really enjoyed this meal, snap. Oh, I went to the beach today, snap. Oh, I had a nice little walk with my guy, snap. I was with these friends. So whatever just kind of stands out as like something lovely that day, I'll take a photo and add it to my Trello board. And I just love how each time I go in each day, I can just see again like what I was doing 2 years ago or what I was doing 5 years ago. And I primarily use it as like a photo log, but if I want to like add any thoughts or how I'm feeling, I can put it in there as well. So I'm really loose with it. I'm not like, dear diary, this is what happened today. Nothing. I'm just like literally whatever's on my mind. If I've got something that I'm just feeling, thinking, something that's happened, I'll put it in. And if not, then it's just a photo. So it's just really easy, loose, but again, just a visual thing of just like seeing and collecting lights. It's just a little bit different than a photo album, but yeah, all mine's in Trello.
Yeah, and I think it's visual, like you were saying, but it's also loose, as in it doesn't have to be there every day, and you can just do whatever feels
Yeah.
good to come back to the feeling
Mm-hmm.
good, while still having that system or memory.
Yeah.
And it's not on Facebook because in the end, like you don't know what will happen with Facebook. It's something I've been thinking about. Like I have so many photos on there that might not even be
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else. Some of them are, of course, but not all of them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you don't have that photo log if something would happen.
Mm-hmm. And I just like being able to see like a collection of it. And like I said, sometimes it might just be a selfie of me because I just quite like seeing like, oh, this is what I look like now. This is what I looked like 10 years ago. I always find that quite interesting. It could be a work thing. So like if I, create a new journal or a new t-shirt, I can just see like, oh, it was 5 years ago when I first launched that t-shirt, or like, oh, a year ago, it was that journal. So I can just, it's literally an amalgamation of all bits of my life and me. And it's just quite nice seeing it all. And it's like, I don't know, puzzly thing. Yeah, it's quite fun.
How long have you been doing it?
I want to say officially now, probably about a year and a half. Like because I had it here on Facebook. Here's some like real photo albums, a little bit on Trello. So I just started putting it all together, and I'm just making it easy. Like as I go through the days, like I'll just check Facebook memories and and I'll just like add in the previous years. So yeah, doing it
Oh,
that way.
that's a smart idea to get the previous years in there, because otherwise you
Yeah.
might think, well, if I now start, it takes me so long before I actually see something from it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that, and that you're also working backwards in that
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. I just had a thought and then it completely disappeared again. Oh, right, the journals, because you were talking about the journals, and
Hmm.
I would love to know a little bit more about that because I have two of them, I think, like the
Which ones do
digital
you have
ones.
now? Oh, yeah. I know which ones it is. I've only done two digital ones right now. Yeah, I don't know. I just really, really enjoy making them. So I don't know why. I think it might be just from like childhood and just a whole bunch of maybe not so nice stuff happened and like through school, not so nice things happened. And I just remember like just being like a really quiet child or like really quiet in my voice and just, what does everybody else want? Oh, people please everybody else. So I think over the years it's just taken some time for like me to find my voice and to like really listen to my insides. So just writing has just been a way to do that and just journal. So again, it's just for my eyes, just like get in touch a little bit more. And obviously having a design background as well, I'm like, I can put these two things together and just create a lovely space for other people to just explore their thoughts, their feelings, their ideas. Um, and yeah, just for me, like sometimes like it, people can find it challenging sometimes to sit down just like, oh, I want to journal, but like, what do I journal? What do I write? So I quite like starting with a prompt, and it's just, it can be something simple like, oh, what's the kindest thing you can do for yourself today? And you've got a list of like 20 things you want to do. And you're like, oh, I forgot about me. Actually, the kind of thing I could do is just like make sure I take a proper lunch break, or make sure I just get outside so I'm not at my desk all day. It allows you to tune in a little bit more. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's, I think if I hear that, like I didn't have a great childhood in some ways as well. Like I got teased a lot. I
Me
think
too.
tease is maybe a little bit of a even small word for that. But yeah, so I think it's so important, especially as entrepreneurs and in the stage that we're in life, to tune in with yourself and to like feel what you need and how you can have fun and be happy and get through, because you can't get rid of all the past memories, but like get through them, and so that they have a place and you can just leave it behind, and then use it to feel good this day, or about what you're doing with your business, or about relationships. And I think having journal prompts, because like you said, like I struggle if people just tell me go journal. I'm like,
Journal.
I
Yeah.
think it's the same with like oracle cards or things. Like just pick a card, sure, but or just just ask it a question, sure, but what question should I ask it? Like I need a little bit of guidance that way, and I think journals like that have a little bit of prompts, but then leave you completely to it. I think that's just perfect, and gives you that space to go in the direction that your mind wants to go in that day.
Do you know what? I'm going to say I think it's even more than that in my eyes. So for me, because I like creating a journal, like each one has a theme. So one could be self-love, one could be about taking care of like your overall well-being, another one could be about creating a more aligned business. Like each one has a specific theme depending on what you need the most. But well, I don't ever want to say like, oh, my journals are therapy, because they're not. Like definitely people have found them therapeutic to like go through past things and just like, just acknowledge and work through some previous stuff that might be holding them back now. But secondly, especially online, it's so noisy out there, and everybody be telling you what to do all the time. This is my advice, follow this meme, here's the 3 tips, this is what you should do. And like everyone just like shouts at you and pulls you in different directions. And while I'm all for listening to a good bit of advice, sometimes you just got to like block that out and listen to yourself. So a journal for me, rather than like, so and so over there says I should do a course rather than one-on-one services, but so and so over there says I should do a group, whatever it is. Like everyone's telling you what you should do, and their program solves everything. Actually, all these things can work. You just need to find a thing that's good for you. And those prompts sometimes can be like, oh, what would feel really good to me in my business right now? Oh, do you know what? It would be maybe not having as many clients, but creating a few projects so that I've got extra income coming in this way. Just there's no one right answer, but you've got them inside you, and it allows you, in my eyes, to listen to you rather than all that noise out there as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so much, and it has to feel good to you. And like I think I've fallen in the trap before. I've been in business for a long time, where I listened too much to coaches and mentors and all these people that you look up to that do something, like whether it's doing, oh, you have to have one signature course and not have anything else, or oh, you shouldn't do services but you have to do, like, if it's not in line with who you are and what you want to do and what feels good and fun to you at that time, it's not going to work. And I think I've definitely fallen in that trap where I follow too much of other people's advice, even if it didn't feel good, even at that time. Like, should I do this? Should I? Like, I don't feel like this is what I should be doing, but I'm doing it because they tell you to. And one of the examples of that actually is I have a big course around content creation for creatives. And I am splitting that up into several small products, because even then I said, should this be one big course? There's so many parts of content creation. Should this be one big all-encompassing thing? And I got told, yes, you have to. And it's taken me this long to say, no, I don't. No, I don't have to have one big thing. And I would prefer to have it in smaller things so that people can pick the thing that they need right now. Yeah. And it's more fun for me to promote and sell and help people that way.
And I want to be so loving with this, but that bothers me so much, because I'm such a believer that, let's say you've got this big program. Could selling just that work? Of course it could. Could breaking it down into 12 different kind of bite-sized workshops work? Yes. Could having both work, where you can get them individually or you could buy them as a bundle for a discount? Yes. There's so many different ways of doing it. It just bothers me so much when I'm follow my one way and these 3 steps and it's just no, all of them can work, and you're just disempowering people to just take away that feel good thing.
Yeah, and I think it's you have to find what works for you. And yes, that big course might have worked for someone else, but even then I kind of knew it wasn't going to work for me.
It wasn't for you.
And I think that's the problem. I wasn't listening to myself and using maybe the journal prompts to take that time to think, okay, so why am I not feeling great about this? And there's people in this course, it's not a course but it's just, it never felt completely right. And like you said, I might bundle them up again and then it's still the same course. Just you can also get them separately. And I think that just feels far more aligned with me as well. Because I have people that wouldn't be able to spend the money for the big course all at once, but also don't need all of it. They just need one part.
Well, I was going to say the same thing, that it could, bigger courses sometimes can put people off. Because let's just say there's 12 different modules, whatever.
Yeah.
And it could be, do you know what? I don't know how to do that thing and that thing. So there's 2 things in there. I really need to know this thing. I don't know them. I want those. I've got those other 10 nailed, or I don't need, they're just not relevant for my business. So I'm I don't want to spend all this money just to learn those 2 things. So it also can put people, there's just so not one way to do all things.
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt and how it got started for me, splitting it up. So hopefully by the time this video comes out, there will be several little products instead of the big one. Yeah. But I think it comes back down to doing things that make you feel good your way, and finding what makes it fun and feel good for you, and using the tools out there, like your journal prompts, to take the time to come back and listen to yourself. And that there's so much great advice, but you still have to take that time to go back inside and think, okay, so how does it fit for me, and how does it fit with me?
And that's the thing, there's so much great advice out there, but there's also so much great advice in you. Your nervous system has so much great advice, your excitement levels, that has good advice. Do you know what I mean? There's so much good advice in you, and it's just tapping into that as well.
Yeah. Well, on a little bit of a segue there, that I think that's how we got to travel, my partner and I. We went traveling and traveled through Europe because we said, hey, the life that we're living is not really what we feel like we should be living. Let's kind of take a break, but still we were working and we were making vlogs, but taking the time to go completely out of our comfort zone and completely do something else, to be able to take that step back and see, what's important to us. And we've been told quite a few times, you should buy a bigger house and stuff. And we also had been questioning it before we went traveling, but especially afterwards. After we started traveling, we were we can live in a camper. We don't need a bigger house. So I think it doesn't just go for your business. It goes for everything, that you just shouldn't listen to what other people say, but feel feel what feels right for you.
And do you know what? I haven't got it in front of me, and I'll try and butcher it if I try and say it. But I remember it was Danielle Laporte, and she shared a thing one day, and it was something along the lines of like, oh, you'll always be like too quiet for someone, too loud for someone, too big for someone, too small for someone, too something. Like it doesn't matter what you are. And like just using your home for an example, like some people are like, oh, you should buy a bigger house. But then if you had like a big house, some people were like, oh, look at Natalie in her big house. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, like no matter what you do, people are going to think it's like too big, too small, too grand, too simple, too like everyone's got an opinion, and yeah, I got no time.
Yeah, no, I think that's just in general a good thing. Like, just there's always people with opinions, and you just have to be you.
Yeah, totally. It's a tough thing to do.
Definitely.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ruth. This was really, really fun.
You're welcome. And I'm just gonna say, because through our like mini interview, and I'm just like, oh, my neighbours next door, they work from home, and I can just hear banging. So just apologies for any little bangs we've got in our video.
Yeah, we hope we don't have too many, but
Yeah.
if there are any,
If there's a couple.
sorry. Well, thank you so much, and yeah, I will make sure that you can find Ruth. In the description, all of the links will be. And yeah, just thank you so much, Ruth.
You're totally welcome.
Bye.